Good afternoon, good morning, everyone. I'm going to get started with the webinar for today. So my name is Ben Abbott. I'm the team lead for the solutions engineering team here at VMRay. And today I'm going to talk about how VMRay is going to, help out with SOC teams with malware analysis and threat detection. Promise it's not going to be too heavy on any PowerPoint. We're going to get more into the meat of it with a demonstration of of how our reports look, and what you're able to get out of those. So with the really just like any other tool that you're leveraging for malware analysis, you're going to be, whether it's submitting files, you can submit actually URLs or even emails directly into our platform. We do have both a cloud and on-premise option. So if for cloud, we have both EU and US native clouds. And then on-prem, if you're looking to host on-site or within your own private cloud, you'd be able to do so. Based off any of the information that we get from these, we're able to get definitive verdicts, but also in-depth analysis reports you get from there. And there's a lot of different ways that different teams use us. Probably more common of ways that people think to use sandboxes, whether it's some of the incident response or detection engineering, threat hunting that the CERT teams are leveraging. But we're seeing more of teams using us for user report phishing and other phishing related analysis. Also enrichment from their endpoint solutions, or connecting to a SOAR through any investigations, whether that's phishing investigations directly through that platform, or if there's any other investigative alerts that they come through within this. And then also adding on any threat intel generation you may be able to get from these reports. And really what makes us different than any others is going to be the way that we set up and monitor the behavior of the sandbox. So this allows us to be able to uncover threats that others may miss. So a lot of other technology leveraging some sort of hooking-based approach that sits inside of that target environment. And while we sit outside of that target environment from the hypervisor, where we do all the monitoring and recording, and then be able to get any information out of that analysis based off some of the rules that their labs teams generate, but also more common like YAR rules that they create and that you would also be able to customize from there, even adding in like other reputation and AV sources to those to get other matches off samples that might be missed otherwise. And really what you can see from this is you can get a full malicious sample, but also the actual threat name of that, or even something at VirusTotal that you might have submitted early on might have missed that result, or any of the vendors that they're shown within VirusTotal might have missed that result from any of the static analysis, or some cases some of the sandbox analysis that they get from those. But also more than that is we also make these reports a lot cleaner and clearer to any analyst. So it's not something that junior analysts won't be able to understand, but it's really something that they can very easily understand of what is happening within that sample, and everything that might have occurred from that, so they can really empower some of the even more junior analysts to understand what that sample might be doing, but also some of the more advanced analysts can also get a really good idea of everything that sample might be doing and everything that they might be looked for as part of their threat hunting exercise. And then also look to expand to additional use cases. So again, a lot of tools are leveraging, or sandbox tools are looking more of kind of the in-depth analysis, which we certainly provide, whether it's looking for your incident response or threat hunting or detection engineering, but also expanding across the security landscape to aid with other investigations, whether it's directly connecting these with any XDR, EDR tools, say with like a SentinelOne or Microsoft Defender, where you can directly connect those tools. So any incidents that are triggered from those automatically get sent to VMRay for analysis, and they can pass that information back into that technology. So you actually never have to leave that console to see everything that might have been found from an analysis or result, but you can still dive in for maybe a clearer picture of what you might have been seen from that analysis. Obviously, you have more like SOAR technologies, whether it's like XSOAR or Splunk SOAR, swim lane, or obviously there's a ton of these tools that can be leveraged for any orchestration. For it could be similarly looking for alerts from the EDR, XDR, or phishing analysis that you're leveraging, or really anything that the SOC team might be leveraging these tools for. And then we can also generate threat intel, kind of on a more basic level, more like IOC generation that you can get out of these tools, but also from extracting the malware configuration of that, or memory dumps that are taken throughout the analysis. So really depending on kind of the level of threat intelligence they're looking to extract out of those analysis. And then you can also directly connect, email. Again, that could be through like a SOAR technology they're leveraging this for, but we also have a built-in way that you can forward any user-reported phishing emails to us, whether that's the SOC team that's directly sending those over, or even open it up to the user base to be able to submit those. So I'll kind of go over different ways that we're able to aid any of these use cases now. Again, as I promised, it'd be a bit shorter on the PowerPoint presentation. So let's get into what that product actually looks like. And so this is kind of what you'd see. Again, this is within our cloud environment when you first log in. So the idea is to kind of show you the more recent activity. So it could be some of the more recent submissions that you yourself have submitted, or you can also look at all the other submissions within that account. And then there's also more of the automation dashboard. And this, again, where you have anything that's coming through automation. So we have what I spoke about earlier, which is that IR mailbox. This is where you can leverage for user-reported phishing. So some customers like to maybe just have their SOC team have access to this tool, so that they are the ones that are passing over any emails that they're investigating, or some also have it so they're auto forwarding any emails that their users are already flagging to us, so that we can investigate it, and then they can actually notify that submitter if that submission was malicious or not. And we even have an Outlook add-in, so if you don't already have something for users to leverage for this, we'd be able to leverage our tool to be able to automatically submit those emails directly from there. Again, you could also directly connect like an endpoint solution, whether that's part of your kind of initial triaging phase when you're setting up a new endpoint solution. But once you are set that up, and we can do more enrichment from those to get some of the details from those reports back over to those tools. And that can be directly connected to SentinelOne or Defender, CrowdStrike, whatever you might be looking to connect from there. There's also more, custom submissions that you could do for if you have maybe something that doesn't quite fit into any category, or again, like a SOAR solution that we typically see from here. Obviously, there's ways to manually submit. I won't go over kind of all the submission settings, but there is also ways to live interact with any of these samples, whether you're submitting the file directly or with the URL. And so there's a lot of different submission settings you can play with to kind of get everything right the way you would want to. That's maybe most similar to your environment and how you are looking to submit those samples. So right now, I'm just going to pull up a few different example reports I can look at, and what we're kind of showing right now. This is a kind of sample overview page. So this is kind of the aggregate report that you have from any analysis that's performed on this. So here you can see there's different. You have a Windows 7, 11, 10 analyses. There's also reputation static that are part of this. So really, all of that information together as you get an overall verdict. Classifications, and these are going to be a bit more high level based off some of the behaviors that we see below. So again, like spyware, injector, downloader, dropper, ransomware, some basic classifications that we can get based off some of the behaviors that we're seeing. And some of this can be, we can see like captures clipboard data, where that's more indicative of spyware, or some of the other data collection that we see from there is indicative of that. Obviously, we see different injection that takes place there, so we can see this here. But even if we have like known malware that we have for like, say like a Yara match, can also indicate specific classifications based off those. That's also where we can get particular threat names on a particular malware family that we see from there. Now, this report kind of shows everything that might have been found from that. So again, these identifiers are going to be weighted depending on the type of sample that we're submitting. So all of these will have the various scores tied to them. So 1 out of 5 might, not necessarily be suspicious or malicious, but it's just showing it might be something to make note of. So you can have like, connects to remote hosts or like downloads a file that we see from there. We also have other, data collection. We even see there's a lot of different anti-analysis that comes through here. So that I'll hit on that in a more detailed report so you can see everything that we see from that. But we see from these, it makes indirect system calls or even direct system calls, and it's in an attempt to evade hooking-based sandboxes. So that's something that, again, since that's not something we do, it's able to detect all of this behavior and anything that might occur afterwards as well. These VTIs we also leverage for both mapping to the attack matrix. So it's not just showing you a particular technique that's hit here, but also shows you what some of the corresponding behaviors would be. So you can really validate the information you're getting from these analysis. And it could be, it's something credentials and files that it's trying to get some of the discovery data collection based off that. We also then leverage those VTIs or again, those behaviors to filter what we consider to be IOCs out of the total artifacts. And this is so it's, again, helpful for some of the cleaner reports that you have, but also if you're looking to pull more threat intel generation, this is something kind of Sandbox are notorious for, is you have a ton of artifacts that are found throughout the analysis. Even this one, there's over 370 artifacts found throughout this, but of those, we're saying 41 of those are more relevant to the actual malware behavior. It could be something, if we go to the domains here, we can see what the related VTIs are. It could be something as simple that this is the resolve host name of this DNS request has performed. So again, it's not necessarily something that means that these domains are malicious, but something to, again, might be more noteworthy to pull out of those and the other 330 artifacts that we see from those. So you can see each of the information from there. Same with like IPs that might be pulled from that. Some of these have like reputation matches that can increase the actual verdict score of those. But even without that, that could still be pushed up out of the total artifacts to be found from there. And then we have the more detailed analysis reports and the dynamic. And so this, again, we can see some of the dynamic analysis reports. Again, we see some of the same details we saw at the top here, but this gives you more information on any of those. So like going back to some of the anti-analysis that we see, some of this is, delays execution. So we can see that there's threads that are trying to sleep for more than 5 minutes. This is pretty common to try to get past sandbox detections, as they typically run for a shorter period of time. So it's a way to try to bypass some of those, and we can actually see that of one of the remarks here, that some of the in total that these try well over a day that these tried to be dormant for. And then we actually sped that up so we could reveal that functionality within 19 seconds of that analysis. So it's an attempt, so it's a way to actually see all of the behaviors that you might otherwise miss, or it's trying to get past those. Some of these are also where it's just trying to detect different debuggers. So it's trying to more of the manual analysis that people leverage for this. So it's trying to detect the presence of those. So the might be make it harder to run if any reversing or anything else that was part of that process. And again, you have some of the anti-analysis that take place. So some of the processes are make direct system calls, again, to evade hooking-based monitoring, and I'll kind of we also see that to indirect system calls. There's 29 of those, so that you can see there's a long list of these that can get to that. And so this is something that we're able to see that others might miss, depending on what their capabilities are within the monitoring. So because of the different unique way that we have to monitor this, we're always going to see any behavior like this that might try to bypass those particular detections. Then you can also use these reports to get details in other ways. So you have obviously the network behavior that occurred throughout the analysis, and so we do have an actual network egress. We allow these to go outbound, get any information that's needed. So you see that there's files downloaded from those. You see some of the contacted IP addresses from those. You can get details off of what it's doing from here, whether it's on a kind of some different requests that posts and get. You have some of the response details for those. Also like PCAP strings that are related to this, and even a whois lookup. They'll be part of that particular analysis. So you can see some of the details that might occur from network side. You also have all of the PCAP if you're looking to kind of manually download that and look at other information from there. Also, again, for like STIX reports, we have those available. Even like in a more detailed PDF report, they'd be able to download if you're looking to attach these to any tickets from there. Again, on kind of we have the same similar IOCs here that we saw otherwise, but again, you'll see there's way less. Again, because the previous of the sample review, it's more of the aggregate. So this is more specific to what we saw on this particular analysis. So while it's useful to get all of this, it probably if you are looking to build threat intel, you probably do that at the sample level to get everything that was part of that submission for this. Now, just going into another sample report. So here I want to focus in on some of the information you get from if there's like a known malware family that we're able to detect as part of this. So again, for this, we have for Luma that we see from this. And we see a number of, typically we get these for different, YAR rule sets that we're able to see from there. And so we're able to detect this in a number of different ways. And I can go to that AV and YARA tab to see that. So like the AV is able to detect off on a particular memory dump, so it doesn't necessarily need the match on the particular file itself. But then you also have YARA matches on a number of different ways from there. So you have some of the actual like C2 communications we see from the web requests data, so we can have YARA rules that be able to detect this more specifically. We also have from strings from the function call. So these can also be another way that we're able to map to those. And again, we have memory dumps that we can map. Obviously, there could be matches off some of the initial static analysis of that file. But the idea for all of this is to be able to not so this would be the kind of information that could be provided over as part of that EDR enrichment. So in addition to just knowing, confirming that maybe something's malicious that it picked up, you also are able to get more details around what the actual threat was. So what that malware family is from here, and you have kind of confidence that we're able to detect these in a number of different ways to be able to classify this malware appropriately based off what we're seeing from it. You can use these to jump into those parts of the analysis. So you have all the different areas that this matched up for different YARA rules. You can have, you can download these, the memory dumps if you're looking to extract, again, more threat intel out of those, you'll be able to do so. You also have strings from function calls. Again, everything that we're seeing from there can to both map to AV or YARA rules, and that's also you could download that file if you're interested in pulling that information out. Or again, you also have the some of the network behavior that we saw from here that we're able to that we saw some of the malicious behavior for. And so there's, it could be, any number of ways that we're able to not just detect that these samples are malicious, but then pull more information out that are useful for the analysts as they're going through these tickets, or if you're looking to pull more threat intel out of it, and what additional information we're able to extract out of those. That might be part of like a threat hunt they might do from that, or to build more monitoring out of based off of threat intelligence that we provide from those reports. Now, the last report I want to go over was just to kind of show you how we handle emails, or really anything that might have kind of multiple stages to that. So it could be maybe you're submitting an archive file, and then what files are underneath that. But in this case, we have an email, and that email with an attachment, and then that attachment has an embedded URL that would be the ultimate phishing page that it's actually trying to get the user to land on. And so how we handle this is we do the static analysis of that email itself to be able to pull out any URLs out of that, but also extract out the attachments from that email, and then having a static analysis of here. So even at this level, we're able to see that the URL inside of this PDF was ultimately was found to be malicious out of this. So even just from that static analysis of the email, we're able to pull that information out of it. You can then dive into each subsequent step of this. So you can see the analysis of the PDF. Again, really all it's doing here is we're able to extract out the URL from here. You can actually go into the dynamic analysis of that PDF, and you can see what that screenshot might look like. And for instance, here we are able to decode QR codes out of those. So not just from the body of the email, if it was say directly within the email, we'd be able to do that, but also from the PDF or any Office documents that are being used as the attachment. We're able to extract out that URL out of there, and then from here, be able to, again, continue to detonate that recursively. So you can continue kind of to see how this whole chain goes through. And again, ultimately get onto the phishing page, which we're able to detect from there. So again, I have kind of that sample overview where you get some of the details off of that. And then for the more detailed, you can kind of see more information that you have from that. So like, again, we could go directly to that screenshot, which probably everyone here can easily tell it's a phishing page just by looking at what we're seeing from here. Obviously, nothing related to like Microsoft login, but we can see from the actual like whether it's like the Microsoft login background and also the login that we see directly in front of us that's trying to pretend to be Microsoft that we can see from there. But we're able to do that all automatically from some of the heuristics that we're picking up off those pages. So, it could be it's something as simple that we see like a login form, or that's that the title of the page itself indicates it's the login page. So like we can see again here, like login, that's really what it's looking at from there. So kind of some basic heuristics to just tell us that's login page. And that doesn't necessarily mean that it's malicious or suspicious there, but you can continue to see other pieces that are tied to that where you have, Microsoft copyright text, domain valid SSL certificate, that more specifically that we see a Microsoft login form, again, for something that a page that doesn't belong to Microsoft. So, and all of these kind of underlying heuristics where you kind of have like an aggregate based off that based off some of these underlying heuristics that we see from there is able to determine it's a phishing page just based off those. Then on top of that, there's other ways that we're able to get from those. So whether again it could be what we saw earlier that this URL was already known to reputation, so that can also add to aid with some of that, especially if maybe these URLs are maybe down at the time of the analysis because it can be pulled pretty quickly. That can aid with some of the analysis for something maybe where that URL was down at the time that this was submitted, so you can get some reputation data off of that. We even have 3 different machine learning engines that also look at these underlying heuristics to make their own determination if it's malicious. So again, YARA rules that can be based off some of the web response data that we tie to specific fish kits that are out there. So there's a lot of different ways that we're able to detect these, and it's not just looking at reputation. It's not just looking at some of the heuristics that we have here, but YARA rules are again kind of machine learning that we tie into this to aid with all of this behavior. You could also, within the behavior tab itself, you can kind of see how this might transform. So if there were, say, new tabs or redirects that are opened on those, you could actually see how that tracks throughout that analysis on this page. So you can see every subsequent step. Obviously, you'd see that within the screenshots as well, whether it's maybe it gets to like a CAPTCHA page that we're able to bypass, or anything that we might see from there. And again, anything that you might want to download to be able to extract out from there. Whether it is just kind of manually extracting these out, or you can also download these via API. So there's a lot of details to be able to pull out of this. That's really everything I had planned to cover for today. I want to thank you all for attending today's webinar. Obviously, if you're interested in learning more, you can, if you're already in contact with any member of our team, you can reach out to get additional details here. But we also have a way that you can request trials from our website that you can go to, or also you can leverage our website to get more material that maybe you're interested in particular malware analysis reports that our team goes over, maybe some of the updates to our product, or maybe just learning different ways that might be able to help you out with different use cases that you're interested in and learning more about that maybe you hadn't thought of how to use a sandbox earlier today. All right. I want to thank you all for attending and have a nice rest of your day.